right, Pat. Well, I'd actually love to keep chatting, but we're coming up to the top of the hour here, and I had asked you to bring in a song for us to play that meant something to you. And so what I want to do is get you to tell us what that tune is. We're going to play it to take out the show. What I want you to get you to do is tell us what the song is, and then just explain just a little bit of the context around it.
Well, thank you very much, Mark. I welcome that opportunity for sure, because we're going to actually unveil a poster here very shortly on May 1st that commemorates an event that occurred 30 years ago, a picket line that was set up in St. John to protest heavy water shipments going to the country of Argentina. It was a picket line that was organized across the country, and I have a good friend, our local labor historian, George Vayer, who actually wrote a very good description of the event that I'll leave with you. But this was an international event, and we were so proud when we found out what it was really all about. We didn't know about the picket line until it hit in 1979. We were just advised when the night before, when we went to work at 6:30 in the morning, there was a picket line there, and there were these people from all over the country, and we found out later that they were there to protest what was going on in Argentina.
These were labor conditions in Argentina at the time.
We knew nothing about it at the time, so it was an education for us. 15,000 people in that country that had disappeared, the disappeared as they were called, really people who were murdered, who were killed for no other reason than they protested the brutality of the junta that was in place right there. 10,000 people that were in jails, languishing in jails. We found out that 70% of them were trade unionists. Others were university leaders, people who were social activists, people who just spoke up against the brutality of the junta
and so
that's in place right now. So this picket line was set up to prevent a heavy water shipment that was going to Argentina. The end result was that the picket line was successful. The longshoremen in St. John would not cross that picket line, and a deal was very quickly struck whereby 16 of those trade unionists were freed in one form or another. 10, I believe, as I recall, were given visas to leave the country. 3 more were deported, and one, unfortunately, one was kept in prison. The other one they wouldn't release any information on, so they assumed that prisoner was among those disappeared that just nobody knows anything about, other than the likelihood is that they were murdered. So the idea that a picket line in a tiny port in New Brunswick, Canada, could have that effect was very inspiring to all of us as trade unionists, and it's been with me all my life. I was very much inspired by it. It was my first year in the union, actually, when that occurred. So since then, it's been very important to me to be involved in social unionism, to remember that we have some collective strength and that we should use it whenever we can, and it is a responsibility to do so.
And this inspired also the writing of a song.
It sure did. A folk singer by the name of Nancy White. As I mentioned, the organizer from the event were for the picket line were from all over Canada. These were a group of Argentine expatriates. They formed a committee called the No CANDU for Argentine Committee. They were part of organizing this picket line, and part of their group was a folk singer by the name of Nancy White, who penned a song about the picket line afterwards. This is it. I'm glad actually that you called me the other night, because it reminded me of that song and I dug it up. It's again very inspiring to us.
Well, excellent. Well, thanks a lot for coming in. We really appreciate it, and maybe we'll bring you or somebody else from the union back in around May 1st when you unveil the painting again, because I understand there's a painting that
of the picket line itself.
Of the picket line itself. So maybe we'll bring you back in.
We'd appreciate that, Mark, and thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. And so what we're going to do is we're going to actually, Pat was kind enough to dig up a copy of No Hot Cargo for us to play here. And but before we do that, I just want to thank Pat very much for coming in. We appreciated his time and had a good chat. And I also want to thank the producers of Serf City, Rich Cassidy, Mike Parker, and Ricky Cook, and I'm Mark Legier. And I also want to let people know that we have a new website where we archive old shows and also have regular features that we post there during the week, and it's Serf City SJ, that's SERFCITYSJ.wordpress.com. So go have a look at the site there, and you can listen to old versions of the show, and also read some pieces that we're posting there regularly during the week on events and issues in the city. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. We'll talk to you next week, and here is No Hot Cargo by Nancy White.
To the port of Old St. John, and the ship from Argentina rolled in too. Come to pick up heavy water to keep the junta ticking, but for one long day that cargo couldn't get through, because a picket line was forming at the harbor gate with a message for two governments that couldn't wait. And the longshoremen who came to work to start their shift at 9, not one crossed that picket line. They said, we don't care about our wages, and we don't care about the boss. When your brothers and sisters are dying, there's lines you just don't cross. No hot cargo for Argentina, no hot cargo for Argentina, no hot cargo for Argentina.